And finally, new rule, we may not be able to do much about the weather, but we do need a better plan for putting out a burning city than waiting for rain. America is so partisan now that even when there's a disaster of any kind, so many people choose to defend their own team, even over death. A lot of Democrats in this one-party state this week went right to, don't blame politicians, you can't do anything about the wind.
I don't agree with Bill Maher on probably 75% of the stuff that he says. I'm also not one of those people who, praises somebody when they get it right. I just report on the obvious. I talk about what's really going on. You know what I mean? Or things that are important. And these California fires are extremely important. Obviously, I'm sure they're not still going on, but it doesn't matter. We move on, we ticker tape right to the next problem, and we forget about the last problem. I don't care how rich they were. Those were American citizens who were under blaze, fire everywhere, right? He has every right to be mad. I'm going to second everything that he says. I think this clip is epic. And I call it epic because we just need more anger. We do. We need more anger. We need more something. The American people are becoming too docile. I don't know. Maybe I'm one of them. I don't know, guys. Help me out. Maybe I'm just saying too much. Maybe the coffee was too strong. I don't know. But let's go ahead and get back into it.
Which is exactly half true. The wind part. Yes, fire is a tough fight out here, and yes, global warming absolutely makes it worse. But that's largely out of our control. What are we going to do, pass a ballot measure to make sure Chinese stop burning coal? It's also, yes, undeniably true that LA is built in a stupid place to build a city. But when it's not on fire, it's really quite lovely. And it's my home. And stupid as its origin may be, it's not going anywhere.
LA is lovely. And I had to go there to find that out. Especially in the time when I went to LA, I think it was 2022. And that's when I was like a baby, right wing MAGA girl, the woke this and the woke that, LA, wokeity, woke. Guess what? I went to LA and I had a good time. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, Casey, you were about to hate a whole city because what? Right? It's just insane when you think about it. But anyway, he's right. He's absolutely right. By the way, guys, please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and notification bell. Thank you to every eye that lands on these videos.
Axios ran a story on how getting the water out of the hydrants in Pacific Palisades was more complicated than it seems. I'm sure it is. I'm sure it's very complicated. That's why I pay 13% of my income in this state every year to people who I assumed were working on things like this. When asked why so many of the hydrants in the Palisades ran out of water, Governor Newsom said the local folks are trying to figure that out. Yeah, you got to do that before the fire.
The only thing is there's a couple that owns the reservoir. Nobody ever brings them up. I did bring them up on an episode before, but it didn't move for some reason, whatever. Anywho, coming back to that. Right. What are these people doing all day? No, I don't run a state, okay? But I guess I would triage the most important things, such as, do we have our emergency things in place? I'm just saying.
At least in the Palisades, the hydrants were still there. 300 other ones around the city are just gone, stolen for parts. One of the three reservoirs for the Palisades was offline at the one time of year when it was most needed. LA's Mayor Karen Bass, the Nero of American politics, was fiddling in Ghana while the city burned and later placed the blame on 8 months of negligible rain and winds that have not been seen in LA in at least 14 years. Yeah, that's not that long a time. Maybe look in the history books to see how our ancestors handled it back in 2 and 11.
really likes that girl because like there's somebody else on the panel, but I mean her makeup is on point. All right, okay. And by the way, yeah, she was in Ghana. What's going on?
The mayor said about cuts to the fire department's budget, there were no reductions that were made that would have impacted the situation. The fire chief here had a slightly different take. She said, "We are screaming to be properly funded. And yes, the budget was cut and it did impact our ability to provide service. And by the looks of all the fire engines in the boneyard out of service because we didn't fix them, she's right." Exposed power lines keep causing fires and keep not getting buried underground because it's expensive. I've heard people say, do you want to pay more taxes to fund this? No. I want you to use the exorbitant taxes you already collect to prioritize it.
Okay, they got the black guy in finally. I mean, he does get on my nerves.
The power lines that cut through Topanga weren't upgraded because it endangered an herb, the milk vetch, which sounds like something they serve at Passover. I mean, talk about not seeing the forest for the trees. You know what the absolute worst thing for the environment is? Wildfires. A 22 study found that the smoke from just the two in 2020 wiped out 18 years of carbon reduction in the state, which means we suffered the pain of driving those early model Priuses for nothing.
Okay, so all right, for a moment, let me just run back. Because you see the fire chief that said that they were begging for more funding. See why I can't stand conservatives? Don't get me wrong. I don't care. I'm not a DEI girl or affirmative action, none of that. Like, I don't want any of that. I don't. Take it all away, right? I mean, I radically say to remove the Civil Rights Act. People think I'm insane. I'm not going to stop saying that. Anyway, coming back to the point. All conservatives did was talk about her being, gay. And while it's like, okay, well, was that a criteria for being, higher, blah, blah, blah. But y'all missed the part where she said that they weren't properly funded. Okay? So you see why I can't stand the virtue signaling of like, oh, no, the story is in the DEI. Like, yes, that's part of the story. Why can't we always talk about the whole story? So this is why I cherry pick my news. This is why there's no way I could ever just sit here and just listen to, one side. I would be stuck if that was the case. By the way, greenhouse gases, you know what that is? That is the gases that come out of livestock and things like that. The things that we need, the pee, all of that, to fertilize the ground. The part of the ecosystem that the Lord placed on this earth to make things run appropriately. See, because everything was already taken care of when it was created, when the world was created and people and I'm telling you, 100%, you would never seen any kind of engineering like when God created the earth and created humans, right? And I'm not trying to preach to you, but humans said they could fix it. I bet. Okay.
California is the place that spends money and gets nothing, which is why you may have noticed when the fires broke out, no one escaped by high-speed rail. We have the highest marginal tax rate in America, higher than almost all other states, and soon Greenland. What is included for that? Breadsticks?
I mean, he has every right to be mad. I mean, and it's like, yeah, it's a joke, but in reality, like, his jokes are funny, okay, get us through the hard times. It's not, let me tell you something, man. Like, this bubble's gonna burst. We are, what is the word I'm looking for? And this is not doom and gloom, but we run on greenhouse gases. Seriously. there's so much that is not talked about that could help us, that could do good things in this country. You can't keep shoving a bunch of stuff under the rug. It will blow up one day. So is that part of the plan? I don't know. I'm not here for doom and gloom. The point is, here, we'll leave on a high note, right? We watch the catastrophes or whatever, the symptoms of a lot of the gaslighting, greenhouse gaslighting. And as an individual, you look at it and figure out how can you be better, or what can you do when these things hit. And I'm not just talking about crises. I'm just talking about period. Like, educate yourself in different ways, and a lot of other things like that. Like, look for the truth. Again, I always talk about that. It's not doom and gloom, but this whole farce, and I love my country. Be clear. And that's why I talk about it the way I do. In reality, it won't last. We are on a tight rope. So prepare yourself in a chill, calm way. Okay? That's it, right? Okay. I'll see you guys at the next one. Bye.